Hi everyone, so Diablo 3 Season 29 has been out for a few weeks. I had a blast and I'm slowly starting to wrap things up in preparation for Diablo 4 Season 2, which I'm absolutely looking forward to blasting very soon. So I want to show off a little bit like what I have done this season and also what is still to come, and of course my Primal collection. So this is what this video is about. This season in particular, I have actually played quite little, so you can see this here. I have 41 hours on Necro. I managed to get the world first greater of 150 for Soul Self-Found Hardcore here on like day 2 of the season. That was kind of nice. I also did 150 shortly after on the Wizard. I was actually number 1 on both classes at the same time at some point. And I also did the Demon Hunter here, so I'm starting to push Demon Hunter basically today. And I'm also going to be done with that very soon. And then that's it for the season for me. But you see here I've played roughly 15, 30, 70 something hours. So compared to my usual seasons where I do like 300 to 600 hours, that is much less this time around. But I also didn't really consider Diablo 3 to be like my main game anymore. Like I'm definitely more on the D4 train these days. In any case, you can see that I was actually really fast at gearing up thanks to the visions. So the season theme in Season 29, if you have played that, then you will know that this is very rewarding. And it turns out you can get really good stuff really quickly. So especially on your old characters, once you have done all of the initial grind, all of the initial gearing, gem ups, etc., you can really like get insane amounts of legendaries and really good stuff in like 10 to 20 hours of grinding or so, to a point where you have pretty satisfactory gear so that you can go push, and that's exactly what I'm doing. On that journey, I did find some pretty good pieces, so I want to share with you guys what I found, just, you know, the highlights of the drops of this season, because people always like that kind of stuff. So we started pretty strong actually on my Necromancer, so I think I have to show that here. This was my first Primal of the season from GR70. I got a Primal Crispin sentence, so that was already a huge boon. Obviously that helped a lot with the greater 150 push, because that is like the one piece that is really hard to get, maybe aside from the offhand as well. So those are the two pieces that are usually tough to get. The strat would be normally to just go for a Ring of Royal Grandeur and accept that you have kind of terrible stats on it and then cube the Crispin. But in this case, I didn't even need to grind the Ring of Royal Grandeur, so that definitely helped me a little bit to shortcut the bounty grind in SSF that is not really fast. So that was a huge boon, even though this might look not really perfect. In a Paragon 800 cap season, the intelligence on the ring is actually fairly decent. The attack speed is good for a breakpoint on Nova, so it was all fine actually. I also found another really big item for my wizard, which was the Grand Vizier. So when preparing for my wizard push, I actually got this one here. So it was kind of like a similar story. I found like one of the really hard to get items. Usually it's quite easy to get your set items and, you know, all these like armor pieces. That's really no problem. But then you have the weapons, the offense, and then stuff like, you know, Carini or Crispin that is really hard to roll because of the affixes and because of different rolls that can be on there. So I found a Grand Vizier at some point that had, I think, Vitality and Life per hit. I rolled off the Vitality for damage. I felt, despite being Paragon 800 and Tarasha not really being a tanky build, it was okay. And I went with the more damage here and kept the Life per hit for the recovery. So that worked out quite nicely. And it allowed me to get a Primal Halo of Carini here. So this is the crafted Primal from Cube Recipe 11. Just to show that real quick for those that might be unaware. This is here, Recipe 11. You salvage Primals, you get ashes, and you can make one of these Primal items. So you see this here equipped right now as well. So that was really nice because it allowed me to gear up my wizard really easily, because there's also Guardian set in there. I got a few other nice drops, for example a Tarasha Amulet somewhere. That was like really sick, an ancient roll that I used on my wizard in the end. And like that, I was basically set up really quickly with my wizard here. So you can see this. So after like 10 hours of grinding or so, I had basically everything I wanted on this wizard. And you see here a bunch of decent Tarasha pieces. And the good thing is, in Season 29, is that Vitality is actually a pretty good roll on many builds. You have 200% air damage for free from your Paragons now, meaning you don't really have to try hard to roll air damage everywhere for pushing, and you are generally quite squishy at that low Paragon. So Vitality is actually an easy to get and quite valuable roll, to the point where I would even recommend that on many builds. So those were two of the big ones. I did find another really good one though, another weapon for our Demon Hunter here. So right now I didn't have this equipped because, you know, I was careful to not lose it, but we also have a Primal Yanks. And since I want to push multi-shot, UE, Marauder with Cluster Arrow, both these builds will use this Yanks V-curve, so I need to make sure I don't lose it somewhere on the way. But this is a huge drop here because, again, we can make a Primal from the cube, for example, for the offhand. Offhands are usually very hard to get, so I did exactly that here with Bombardiers. You can see that. I also did it with a Deadman's Legacy, which is not optimal. I wouldn't like this resource cost reduction very much. This should be Vitality, but it's okay. I didn't really have more Primordial Ashes, unfortunately, to get a better one. But both these are sick together with this Yanks V-curve here. And I got a few other nice primals here and there. So there's a really nice UE shoulder, for example, and a few other items that I might want to use for some other builds. So you see here there's a primal Shimizu's Haori, of course. In fact, I found two of them this season. I actually salvaged one of them already, but I did keep the second one just in case I might want to do some shenanigans with that. You guys know me probably. I have done that a lot in the past, especially with Demon Hunters, but also with Wizards. I really like this chess piece for certain builds. So let's see, maybe I'll do something. I found a Serpent Sparker here, so that really made me want to push Typhon. We'll see, because, well, the next best I have is this. That comes with a cooldown that is useless, fear on hit, that is downright, breaking a build, and then a pre-rolled socket and a really terrible damage and affix roll. So this is the other option. So that was quite the upgrade here, as you can see. So I might do some Typhon just because. But yeah, we'll see after the Demon Hunter pushes, I guess. Gotta Triumvirate, however, not really that great. This is for Frozen Orb, not really super impactful. I might salvage it for the Ashes. But yeah, we had a few really good Primal drops, that's for sure. I also want to give an honorable mention to this Demon's Aileron. So you probably have never seen this item. If you have, then I would be surprised. This is a crafted item from the blacksmith for the Demon set. And I used this craft because I was trying to get a Spike Trap shoulder for Natalia's set. So that was kind of funny. I did that yesterday, actually. And I realized that I never saved a shoulder piece. You can wear any shoulder, and somehow I just forgot, or maybe I never found one that I considered to be good enough. And I was preparing my gear for the push and ended up with everything but a shoulder piece. So I went to our trusty blacksmith and decided to craft some shoulders. And, well, it can be any of them. And I noticed that for some reason, this only costs fewer materials. So both the Ashira set, I'm going to show this here. So if I turn off the camera, yeah, they cost 20, 20, 30. And the same for the demons. And for some reason, all guilds and bonds cost more. And I never realized that actually until now. So I decided to just craft this one. And, well, it turns out after like 10 crafts or something, I was just talking about what I'm actually going to craft. I said, yeah, I want something that has a cooldown and Spike Trap and is ancient. And, well, in like one go, I got this one right away. So this is near perfect and was an insane craft for that build. I even rolled a secondary to physical res, just because it's so good. In a normal season, I would probably go for area damage instead of vitality. But again, we have the Paragon 800 problem this season. So we need to get all the vitality we can. We have lots of area damage anyway. But yeah, realistically, this is an insane shoulder piece here that I've managed to get. There's a few other nice items in there, but not really that many primals. But I do have, a bunch of Squirts necklaces here. So there's a poison one, there's another poison one, there's a cold one, there's a physical ancient one, here's a fire one, etc. So they kind of like just pile up. They're not 100% perfect, but they do work. I have a bunch of, rings here, for example. I didn't even roll this one yet. But this is a pretty nice crit ancient damage focus, for example. Here's a restraint, that's okay. Yeah, basically the stuff piles up here. So here's a combination of elements, for example. Yeah, a few other of those drops, but some of those primals have been really nice this season. So quite helpful. And with that, I also probably conclude my journey for Season 29 for the most part when it comes to gearing up and preparing. So as I mentioned, I'm just going to do some Demon Hunter pushes now, and then this is probably it. So kind of a short season for me. However, it was a quite fun, short blast while it lasted, I think. So just wrapping it up here. So you might see some of my uploads for the Demon Hunter pushes, maybe something else on the Wizard, we'll see. Maybe I'm gonna go back and try to improve my times on the 150s, but we'll see. Maybe, you know, in a few weeks or a few months even. The good thing in Season 29 is with the Paragon cap, you can always come back and can always jump in and try to compete for the rank 1 spot. So that's actually pretty awesome with the cap Paragon system. And let's see what happens in future seasons with that. In any case, let me know how you found the season. Did you enjoy it? How was the season theme for you? How was your journey? How was your drops? I'll be quite curious to hear. And very soon we're gonna get news for Diablo 4, so stay tuned for those. I'm gonna keep you guys updated, and hopefully we have a fun season 2. That's it from me. Hope you liked this video, and see you guys next time.